Minister Rory Quinn, you said in your speech here that you're going to hit the ground running. In terms of the issue of patronage in primary schools, what does that mean?
It means that we have to take up the challenge that was first identified by Archbishop Diarmuid Martin, that there are too many Catholic schools under the patronage of the Catholic Church, and they don't reflect the reality of the present Irish society. And he wants to address that issue. He called for this 3 years ago. It was turned down by the last Fianna Fáil Green Party government, and the Labour Fine Gael government have now agreed that we will do this, and we will respond, and we will hit the ground running. And I hope
you're talking about a forum on pluralism and diversity in education. Tell me how that will work.
Well, no, I'm specifically talking about how we can facilitate and help the Catholic Church, which is the patron of 92% of the primary schools around the country, how they can be assisted in divesting, where they so choose and where it is appropriate, schools which are no longer proper for their mission to provide Catholic education.
You're setting up a forum. You spoke about a forum you're going to establish, a very time-limited one. Tell me more about that.
Well, we are currently working on its terms of reference and its composition. The time frame has been set. It should complete its work by the end of this year.
Now, parents listening to this may be thinking, yet another talking shop, another delay. When are we going to see change?
A talking shop will be discussing the idea. We are discussing its implementation.
When do you see the actual divesting of real schools so that parents in many parts of the country who currently have no choice as to where they send their children get that choice?
Well, first, let's be realistic. This country is in receivership. We're not talking about a building of a whole new set of schools. What we are talking about is the Catholic Church divesting some of the schools which it itself considers are no longer appropriate for its mission. They have already been in discussions with the Department of Education and have identified areas where they think progress could be made, and that's the obvious place to start.
You're speaking as if the ball is very much in the Church's court, but how lead a role is the department under you going to play in pushing this forward and achieving the change you said is so urgently needed?
No, the ball is very much in society's control, in the sense that the Department of Education and the programme for government, which will be voted upon next Tuesday in the Dáil, actually wants this to come about. The dilemma for many Catholic parents who want Catholic education is that they have many people in the school who don't share that particular mission, who don't share that particular ethos, and so they can't fully themselves celebrate their own faith and belief. And therefore, what we're trying to do is to provide a system whereby schools that are surplus to requirements as far as the Catholic authorities are concerned can be divested in an orderly and sensible way. But one thing I would stress in all of this, the educational experience of the children going through the system is absolutely paramount. And whatever happens in relation to the way in which these things are brought about, the experience of education for a child, I mean, you're only 6 years of age once ever, and that experience should never be and must not be damaged in the process of doing this, and we will not let it be damaged.
The programme for government also speaks of getting property, school property from the 19 religious congregations mentioned in the Ryan report transferred over into state ownership, and it says it will do this at no extra cost. How on earth are you going to achieve this?
Well, that's in the programme for government. We will be considering how we're going to go about that. Obviously, we will open up discussions, but no plans or timetables have been set for that at the present time.
Do you think it's achievable?
Well, let's start and explore it.
On the issue of community national schools, you in the past have been very critical of the way that these state schools are teaching religious formation, preparing children for communion and confirmation, and you told me in the past that you felt that they had been the process had been hijacked by the Catholic Church with the acquiescence of a former Minister for Education. Are you going to look at the community national schools and the teaching of religion there?
Well, I am the patron of those schools. There is no legislation to provide for the VECs to manage or take on the patronage of it. It's an issue that has to be looked at. I haven't come to any conclusions yet, but I will consult widely.
It's something you felt strongly about in opposition. Do you continue with that view that this needs to be changed?
I believe that it has to be changed, and it should be done in an orderly way. But we're talking again, Emma, about existing schools and existing pupils in classes whose experience has got to be such that they are not damaged by anything that might be done outside the classroom.
Finally, you in the past, during the debate on the Ryan report in the Dáil, you were very critical of people working within the Department of Education. You suggested that there may be secret members of the Knights of Columbanus or of Opus Dei in there protecting the church. Do you still believe that to be the case? And if so, do you expect opposition to attempts to change things like patronage of schools?
What I said is on the record. My experience of the replies to questions that I put down over a long period of time was totally unsatisfactory. No deputy of Leinster House of Dáil Éireann will receive the same kind of evasion that I received. I will in time be giving guidance as to how questions can be actually and factually answered.